why these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 12 of these seedlings sprouted 3 days before all the rest of these. What's up with that? All right, let's see. We're live, friends. Hey, flower friends. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and these are some of my straw flowers. I love straw flowers, but I have no explanation for this, y'all. Why? There's like a dozen out of 100 that sprouted days before all their brothers and sisters. I don't have was the seed just pushed down deeper, maybe? Anyway, tonight, I'm going to be talking about how I take care of my seedlings. And we're also going to look at, I know that it's hot and heavy on everybody's mind, storm watch, right? So I'll share a little bit about that too. So friends, if this is your first time joining us in app, I want to just welcome you. My name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I'm the owner of the Gardener's Workshop. And I've been a professional flower farmer for over 25 years, and now I'm on a mission of helping other people to pursue grow and cut flowers, whether it's for profit as a flower farmer or pleasure if you're a home gardener. We've got you covered. And I do that by demonstrating and sharing what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, what I do it with. And I share the same tools, seeds, and supplies that I actually use here on my farm. Hey, friends. And so tonight's show is I'm going to share some of my favorite cool flowers that are on my seed starting list that have been started. Share my seedling step cares, steps, just kind of what I do, my day-to-day. And then at the end, I am going to wrap it up before our Q&A with my snowstorm plan here on the farm. And then I will be doing the live Q&A that we always have here inside the live gardening show. And so if you'd like to have a question for me to try to answer it, in the comments, just put @Lisa and put whatever your question is, and I will get back to those at the end. So friends, I want to just thank you for hitting this share button down here and inviting one of your friends to come over, somebody that might enjoy and gain some knowledge from learning a little bit more about gardening, right? And also just that weekly reminder, y'all, please double check your email addresses and your phone number here inside the app. We cannot send you a shipping ticket, a tracking ticket, if your email has a typo in it or if it's not one that's good. So please double check those for us. And friends, if you have just come upon me on social media, I'm so glad you did. But what I want you to know is that we have a phone app. This is what it looks like. And it's free. And when you're in the app, you just have a better, different experience. First off, when you're on social, we can't see you or who you are. If you comment or ask a question, we don't get to see that. When you're in the app, we do. The app is free. You can get it in about 60 seconds. If you jump over to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop, and then we have two apps. We have the Learn app and the Shop app. The Shop app is what I'm inside of right now. So you download the app, it'll take about 30 seconds, and then jump in, and we'll be right here waiting for you. You're also welcome to get the Learn app. That's what hosts my private flower farmer club, which news about that, and my online courses. And there's actually a free online course inside the app. It's how to build that trellis tunnel. What a fun thing to actually watch. It's yours free. It's waiting inside the Learn app. But if you're a member of my Flower Farmer Club, you may already have it because that's how you access it. And y'all, we are opening my club membership on Friday. You know, it only opens a few times a year, and it's opening on Friday, and it'll be open for about a week. And you can head over to thegardenersworkshop.com, go to the online course area, and that's where the club is, and get on the wait list so that you know when it opens and you don't miss that opportunity. It's a lot of fun. All right, so Let's see. Now, the other reason you want to get inside the app is we have special shipping charges over here, or special rates that apply only over here inside our app. If you place an order of seeds only, seed packet only, the shipping is on us. We pay the shipping. But if you buy products, the shipping is capped at $11.95. That means it doesn't matter how many things you buy, it's still just $11.95. But that is only available here in the app, and we do ship to all 50 of the United States. Now, frequently, especially with seeds, I'm telling y'all, we have blown through so many seeds. I am just blown away by how many people are just going to be growing beautiful flowers, right? And so we frequently sell out during the live. And if you go to something and it says out of stock, get on the way or get notified, you might want to do the get notified. That simply means that if we have more over on our website, they could be bringing more over and loading it here in the app, and you'll just get a little ding on your phone when that happens. And friends, if you see, I already have seen some sunflowers on here. When we have sunflowers, when you see those in the comments, those are the TGW family. Those are the people that are in my private Flower Farmer Club, or they're our online course students, and we just consider them our family, and I love it when they give us a shout out with those sunflowers. So let's talk first about the Cool Flower concept. See, Cool Flowers is the name of a book that I wrote, right? And that's what this is, and it's about this family of flowers that are cool season hardy annuals. Many people are familiar with the pansies and how you can plant those really, really early in spring when it's still cold. Some of us plant them in the fall and they survive winter. They're cool season hardy annuals, y'all. And like I like to say, and they have about 50 kissing cousins of other flowers that fall into this concept. And you can learn all about them in my books. And if you're just learning for the first time, let me get back up here so I can, y'all, technology, me and this mouse. All right, there we go. Almost there. Holy cow. Okay. So if you're just learning about cool season hardy annuals and you aren't sure about this planting into cool to cold weather, this is your first step. This is my book, Cool Flowers. I wrote this book, I actually wrote it 14 years ago, and it's been published 12 years ago. This is the basic concept. It helps you to wrap your head around when you're supposed to plant, what kind of places to plant in. You know, it's different to garden in the winter time than it is during the summer. So the Cool Flower book comes with a free video book study when you get it from us. Of course, I love signing each and every copy for you guys. And the Cool Flower book will just really jumpstart you in this learning about the Cool Flower concept. Now, maybe you've grown cool flowers a couple of times or not, but you're just eager for more information. And that is where the Cut Flower Handbook can really fill in the gaps. This book has 41 cool season hardy annuals and 25 warm. And more importantly than getting all the down and dirty on every one of those flowers, 66 flowers. So like this much of the book, this much, the lion's share of the book are the flower features. It tells you everything. Varieties, how to start them, when to cut them, how to cut them, everything. The front part of this book helps you to weave the the warm and the cool flowers together, which is called succession planting, y'all. It's so simple and so easy. And this book really gives you all the details that you need, and then the varieties and how to start them. Everything you need to know about a cut flower garden is in this book. And we also have a bonus that comes with this, and that is this PDF download of the 6 flowers we could not fit in the book. And these 6 flowers, 5 of them are cool, have the same layout as in the book. So you really get like 6 more bonus flowers. So the Cut Flower Handbook is just really, really beautiful. The photography is beautiful. Just really love it. And I wanted to create the book that if somebody came up and said, you know what, I kind of garden, but I don't know anything about growing cut flowers. And I wanted to be able to say, here is your book. This book will tell you everything that you need to know. And so that's the Cut Flower Handbook. And you know, y'all, this is the time of the year that we should like get down with our spending some designated time to expand our knowledge, right? And I read the same books over and over, listen to the same things. That's how you get depth of knowledge. And you still, after listening and reading the same things 20 times sometimes, you hear something new. And that's what I recommend for you. Now, I didn't even bring the Cut Flower Handbook up, y'all. I'm already back to my bad old ways. So the Cut Flower Handbook, y'all blew us away by just pulling these off of our shelves. I had to sign so many books, and it's just humbling to me. And I just love knowing how many of you are now growing cut flowers because of this book, right? So the next piece of this is, of course, the big calendar journal. So this is so much more than a calendar, y'all. That's what I need for everybody to really understand. The guide that is on this calendar, it's called a big calendar, y'all, because it is big. It is 30 inches tall, 20 inches wide. Why is that important? It gives you enough room to write, to actually create a document that becomes an incredible journal of your garden and your farm. But this is the second page, and this is my guide. It has 9 planting windows, and it has kind of the equation to direct you to create this calendar into your custom for your garden. You plug in your first and last frost and your lowest winter temperatures up here, and then they guide you to find out your planting windows for 9 different planting opportunities. Then it guides you on seed, you setting up your seed starting schedule, and it also comes with the workshop. It's a recorded workshop of me taking you through the 9 steps of the planting windows, y'all. And it's a lot. I mean, it's going to like explode your brain. And then once you figure out, there's 5 cool season windows and 4 warm season windows. And once you figure out your planting windows, then you sit down with your calendar, mark your planting windows. You have to know when you're supposed to plant before you can figure out seed starting, y'all. Mark your planting windows. Then there's a QR code on this calendar to this, which is your seed starting worksheet. This has all 66 of my favorite flowers. It has everything you need to sit down and figure out tells you how many weeks before you're going to plant it, you're supposed to start it, and more. This will finish off everything that you need. The workshop, the calendar, the worksheet is all included. It's $39.95 plus shipping. And friends, it's gonna clear the fog of succession planting, and my method on the back page are more of my tips, and one of them is the 30,000-foot view of succession planting in my garden and how the natural rotation happens, which you should always be moving your crops throughout your farm. And when you have a specific method that you stick with, it happens naturally. And all of that and more is included. So I want you to get a calendar while we still have some. So if you haven't got one, jump on it. That and the book together, and you are actually set. So I wanted to look at some of the seeds that we're starting now, because the window of opportunity that is like breathing down our neck right now, right, is very early spring planting of cool flowers, cool season hardy annuals. It's still too early for most of us to start warm season stuff, with the exception of eucalyptus, which I have already started and it's growing up. But our cool season hardy annuals, which ones are we looking at? any cool season hardy annual that can be started by transplant is a candidate, right? And so let's just take a look at some of these that were on my list that we've gotten started here. So this stock is a big flower around here for us. We love stock. Typically blooms for Mother's Day when we plant in very early spring. And this is apricot, y'all. Look how beautiful that is. And then I love this one because it's a mix. And look at the beautiful colors. This is the Iron Pastels mix. It has, I think that's apple blossom. They call this yellow, but it's really ivory kind of color, which is gorgeous. It's got apricot and there's a pink. This is really fun. So the thing about stock that you need to know is stock is one flower per plant. One stalk, one flower, which means you can pack them in. We put 8 rows across a 30-inch bed, okay? 8 rows, so they're like 3 inches apart or something. And then in the row, running down the bed, they're 6 inches apart. And this year, we're going even tighter, y'all. They don't bush out. They don't get a lot of foliage. So you can really pack them in. And you know what happens when you plant them into a well-prepared bed that's got fertilizer in it? When they're elbow to elbow like that, they all race to grow up and they get taller. It's pretty dadgum amazing. So look at this jewel. This is blue, cat's blue. I love the dark colors. I love these bright colors. And then look at this one, the hot pink. Really love this one. You know, if you sell to florists and event people, the apricot and the pastel mix all the way, or if you're just for your own personal enjoyment. But if you're making bouquets for retail, farmers markets, a farm stand, or supermarkets, the hot colors definitely are what grab people. Look at this one. And I started carrying this one. It's my mother-in-law's name. It's Ruby. It's Cat's Ruby. And it is just this really beautiful, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a deep red purple. It is just really a beautiful color. I absolutely love it. And stock has a fragrance. People are desperate for fragrance in the spring. They are so craving it, y'all. And now we're going to move on to one of my favorite flowers that I think is so underused. Oh, I didn't show you. So these are my stock seedlings. Look how beautiful they are. Look at how the germination, pretty amazing. This is the Iron Pastels mix. We have several trays of stock in there. Stock is a great sprouter, by the way. And then now I want to go to straw flowers. This is the Silvery Rose. Straw flowers, we don't plant stock or straw flowers in the fall. They don't perform well in our conditions here. And so we plant a lot of these in very early spring. These are amazing bouquet ingredients. So that is Silvery Rose. And then look at this one. This vintage white is a really clear, beautiful white. You know who else loves straw flowers? Native bees, y'all. There are so many. We have a ton of native bees here on my farm and that live here. And they absolutely love these little rings of pollen that come up when you leave them out in the garden. Now, this is a color that is really cool to grow. You just don't want to grow a ton. It's just dark. Look how dark that is. What do they call that? Purple red. And it is really beautiful. And that's what the native bees love, those centers. That is really pretty. And then, of course, my favorite color, orange. And, you know, straw flowers dry and keep their color if you harvest them earlier than later. I'll show you the correct harvest stage in just a second. These are all see if these were dried, see how that center is already getting dirty right there? They'll get so dirty so fast when you dry them. They just open wide up. And look at this. This has got great. Oh, I hit the wrong button, y'all. But now I know what to do when I do that. This is yellow. So this is the stage to harvest. See how you can barely see the center? And that's the stage to harvest because if you're using them for dried, because then they'll pretty much stop opening and you want the petals to be exposed for dry. If the center is really exposed when you dry them, it gets dirty, brown, and dirty looking really quickly. Like this looks pretty today, but it wouldn't look good dried. All depends on what you're doing with it. Love this one for bouquets. And then look at this one. This is copper red, and it is really a unique and pretty color. And you know, popping a stick of straw flowers in a mixed bouquet, people, they feel dry. People love it. I mean, we never had enough straw flowers to make bouquets and to have straight bunches to sell to supermarkets. They could never have enough of this. But we never had any for our florists because we sold it retail so many other ways. And then this is one of our particularly favorites. This is Peach Mix. Look at those different colors that are in there. So pretty. And so I succession plant straw flowers. We plant it in very early spring, and then I do it about 4 to 6 weeks. Again, we start it, and then 4 to 6 weeks later. They perform really well. They're one of the cool start, hot finish, so they do really well. But look, this is the all-time favorite bouquet color. Bright rose. And that, in fact, is what these are that I was showing you earlier. Great germination. Love straw flowers. All right. Now, Didiscus, does anybody grow that? I only started growing that about 3 years ago, and I love the lacy pink. It's just there's no other flower this color. We have started it, and it's a slow burn, y'all. It's a slow sprouter. And so don't give up on it. Mine are just starting to crack, and this is just a really great color. And all of these are spectacular candidates for very early spring. And it also comes in white, which is a great one. Look how pretty they are. They are pretty. I love it when it still has the green center. So pretty. And then it also comes in what they call lavender blue. So this is a bucket that I sat on. The lighter colored ones are older. That's what they look like new. See how blue that is? It's really pretty. And then last, but certainly not least, y'all, Billy Balls. This is the sun ball variety. The balls are supposed to be bigger. We'll see. We think they are. And then this is that tray of Billy Balls. Look how good they look. They're all coming along. We also fall plant this, but I'm really worried about it with this cold weather. It's several weeks of really deep cold weather is really, I don't know how well it's going to hold on, but we've got a backup if we need it, right? All right, so let's see where I am here. So now I want to show you how I actually make those soil blocks because that's the way I love to start seeds, right? I mean, it's just, this is 100. Not everybody needs 100, right? But I have trays that'll hold less than that. But this is 100 seeds sown in each of these little individual blocks. They grow up in that block, and that little block is what's planted outside in the garden. It's just really effortless growing. There's no thinning, there's no pricking them, there's no, separating them. It's super efficient, y'all. So let me show you how I actually make these. All right. So we use flat bottom trays of all different sizes. This is a small one, so that would hold one set of 20. And Tatum Masher is my tool of choice to mix the soil, the blocking mix with the water, and also to help me make the block. So I usually push the blocker down into the wet mix a couple of times. I use the potato masher to strike off the bottom so it's nice and flat. And then we use these flat bottom trays with no drainage holes. So that means you can just do it anywhere in your home. I mean, I don't have greenhouses. I still don't. I start all my seeds in a grow room here, which is like a spare bedroom would be. And literally, we just give it a squeeze. And just that quick, we just made 20. Honestly, y'all. I mean, it's just spectacular. Seeds germinate quicker, more germination. They grow quicker because they're not in a container. Their roots get oxygen. It's just pretty dadgum phenomenal. And, you know, I've been doing it now for over 30 years. And every now and then we'll say, you know what? Let's try starting that in a plug tray. Let's just see. And I just can't tell you, plant them quicker. They grow quicker. They have less quick, because they grow quicker, you cut off grow time. It's just pretty amazing. Let me get this out of the way and show you what a clean soil blocker looks like. So this is, oh, I'm kind of crooked, aren't I? You know, when they leave me here by myself, there's just no telling. Is that better? Trying not to push the buttons. Okay, there we go. All right, this is what a clean new soil blocker looks like, y'all. You know, we import these from England. It's the original Ladbroke brand. I use the small blocker almost exclusively, and that is because of how space savvy it is. So that's 20 blocks, 20 little plant pots on this little 5.5 by 5.5 tray. And they grow in this block until they go to the garden, right? And so this is the small blocker. It's $39.95. And it will just, we use them forever, you know? And it's just it's earth friendly. All you add each year is soil and seeds. We reuse all the trays, and it's just a great way to start seeds. All right. So speaking of trays, let's just look. We have several different sizes and I use them all. When I'm starting our vegetable patch, which is just for us here, I often start my peppers and my tomatoes on the small tray because we don't need more than 20, right? So this will hold 20. It comes in a 5-pack. I think this is $1.95. All of these are available in 25 packs. The small holds 2 sets of 20, or it'll hold 2 sets of 4 of the 2-inch block. And so this comes in a 5-pack and it's $2.95. This is the large tray, which holds 3 sets of 20. So it just really depends on what, you know, when you're starting your zinnias the first time around, chances are good you probably do need 60, right? That's when you would use this. But if you only need 20, you use this. It makes the best use of your heat mat and your grow light space to use the proper size tray so you can fit the most, right? So that is that. Now, something I frequently get asked about, particularly when we're talking about cool season hardy annuals, is do you need to use a seedling heat mat? And the answer for cool flowers is yes, because that seeds need a temperature cue when they're supposed to start. Now, they don't need it as hot as warm season, but they still need it warm. The soil needs to be gotten warm. So this is our seedling heat mat, which I've got to click on it. And it has a built-in thermostat that is cued off of the air temperature. And so you plug it in and leave it plugged in as long as you have trays with blocks on it. But for cool season hardy annuals, I actually put a cookie cooling rack on my heat mat just to create a little air space. That kind of cools the mat down just a smidgen, but it still provides 24/7 warmth to let your seeds know that they need to wake up and sprout, right? I leave them on the heat mat until 50% of the blocks or so show signs of germinating. That could be the seed cracking, if you can see that, or they actually sprout. And then you take them off the heat mat and move them over to your grow light. A seeded heat mat makes more seeds sprout. They sprout more uniformly, and they definitely sprout a lot quicker, right? And so I also want to show you how I water. It's a really frequent question that I get. And this is our long spout watering can. Love this thing. This will hold 4 cups of water. It's got this nice long spout, so it makes a gentle pour. So when I am putting blocks on a tray, I purposely always, see how all of these are kind of, you want to leave water channels around the outside, but I try to put them to one side And see how there's this big space down here? Instead of just spreading them out across the tray, what this does, it allows me to go fast when I'm watering, because I'm always in a hurry, y'all. And when you pour, I always pour up against the end of the tray, not on the blocks. And then the water just runs. I'm going to try to do this without water in my shirt, y'all. Then the water just runs down. I always, and you learn after you've done this for a while, like at what stage of the seedling is about how much water it's going to need and how dry. My blocks are pretty dry. And so my goal is to always put a smidgen more than they need. So I go through my whole grow room, water, 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 and then I go back to the beginning and put my eyeball on every single tray. And when I come back in 3 to 5 minutes and look at the tray, if there's standing water, I just very gently, and I'll show you how I do it. This is too quick, but let's just say it's been 3 to 5 minutes and I come back and actually there's so little water in here, I probably wouldn't pour this off, but this is how I would do it. Gently, just if you go slow, your blocks typically won't slide around. So that is how I water, and this is a cute as ever, great for houseplants too. Love this watering can. All right, where are we here? All right, so let's talk a little bit more about my seedling care schedule. And just, you know, you never want to leave standing water in your trays, right? And once you, I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years now, y'all. And if you just get in the habit, get your water, you know, water all your trays, then wait for 2 to 5 minutes. Then look at your trays. Are they dry? If they're dry, guess what? You probably didn't put enough water. Put a little bit more. And let it sit for a minute or two and see if it gets absorbed. You will soon figure out. I mean, I rarely have to add water a second time because I pretty much have gotten used to, you know, they're big plants. They take a lot more water. They're just sprouting. They don't probably need as much water, so I don't put as much. But once you master it, you'll just go with that. So on Mondays, when I am watering my seedlings, I use a bigger watering can and I add to it the Neptune's seaweed fish fertilizer. And I follow the houseplant instructions, which is 1 tablespoon of this to a gallon of water. You use all of it up. If you make more than you need to go find a container or somewhere in your garden to pour. You don't want, this stuff will grow into something that your family will put you out on the curb over. It smells so bad. So you only make enough for what you need to use for that day. You can use it for your seedlings. You can use it out in your garden. You can use it as a foliar feed, meaning you can spray it on or you can sprinkle it on with a watering can out in the garden. So Neptune seaweed is what my guys get on Mondays, right? And it just fuels the seedling growth. So like right now, we're getting ready to kick into high gears. Like, okay, February 14th is not long from now. That's 3 weeks. I need these guys to get up and grow so they'll be ready to plant, particularly the stock, right? So follow the directions. Made in the USA. It's $18.95. And it's an 18-ounce bottle, so it'll last you a pretty good time. So that's what I do. So on Monday, it's no different than my regular watering. I just put this in the watering can. So as I water, they get fed. And that is everybody that's under the grow lights and out on the hardening off. If they're on the heat mat still, they don't get this. They just get straight water. So Wednesday, guess what they get? On Wednesdays, they get the fungus gnat control. So fungus gnats are those annoying little gnats that fly around that just happen when you have moist soil. And so the larvae, the babies of those, are in the moist soil. These bits are what we put in the can on Wednesdays. It has the directions. It's 4 tablespoons to a gallon. If you only need a quart, then you cut down how much you use, right? I put these bits in the watering can like Tuesday after I finish watering so they can sit overnight and break down, and then I just simply water with them. And this takes care of the larva. And then you can also find the sticky traps here on our website. Those capture the adults. And these are Great for house plants, and you just follow the houseplant instructions on here. It's $14.95, and if you have ever had a fungus gnat outbreak, you know that preventing that from happening at all costs is the key. So that was Wednesday. So Monday they get food. Wednesdays they get larva control, fungus gnat larva control. On Fridays, I love to use these compost tea bags, and they are literally in little tea bags in there, y'all. So on Thursdays, about twice a month, on Thursdays when I'm done watering, I fill the can up again and I drop one of these in. And then I'll use that to water the next day. This does not replace fertilizer. This just adds more biology back into your blocks or whatever you're watering it with. And these little tea bags have great quality compost in them. And you can just split them open and put them in your garden or put them in containers. And we love doing this. And it just adds a little bit of health back to your soil. So that is the compost tea bags, of which I did not turn to. So wait a minute, y'all. There it is. And so there are 12 of them. Is it 12? Yes, there's 12 of them in here, and just let it steep. And if you aerate your watering can, it just even makes the microbes get even more active. That's what you want in your soil, y'all. And this just helps to infuse that. All right, so let's talk about, we're going to talk about your storm stuff here in a minute because I need to wrap up. But I'm going to answer your questions that you've put in there. I'll do that at the very end. Remember that those shipping rates that I told you about, those special shipping rates, are only available here in the app. They are not available over on our website. And over on our website, we have videos and blogs. There's a seedling care blog. You can go to the blog over there on the website and go to the search and just put seedling care in. We have podcasts. You can connect with Seed Talk. Episode number 3 is Cool Flower Seed Starting, Indoors Frequently Asked Questions. And then Field and Garden, my other podcast. Episode number 160 is Cool Season Flower Checklist. It's just different gardening in the cool, y'all. And I'll tell you, it's the best. It's best not having 100-degree weather when you're out there getting your flowers going or planting or them on the verge of blooming. So I just want to remind everybody that I do an Ask a Flower Farmer on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock, hosted over on our Instagram account. Remember that on Friday at 12 noon is our big show. We do a big giveaway every week. And I'm always here on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And I also do pop-up shows. I did a pop-up show this last Sunday on the calendar, kind of showed the 15 years of calendars that I have. You can watch the replay here inside the app. And so to know when that happens, because I can tell you with this snowstorm coming, I'll be doing some pop-ups. But you have to have your notifications turned on inside your app to actually, to be notified that I'm actually doing an unscheduled show, right? So we would love to have you join us for that. And remember, on Mondays, I fertilize. On Wednesdays, I treat for fungus gnats. And on Fridays, I do compost tea bags, right? So before I do the Q&A, I want to talk about the weather, this winter weather that we're all happening. So many questions about row cover, y'all. So many people are worried, concerned, scared. None of that needs to happen. I just want to tell you, first off, there is nothing that Cool Flowers loves more than a deep dump of snow. So stop being worried, and I'm going to tell you now what I'm doing and kind of, you can apply this to your situation. First off, I'm watching the weather like a darn hawk. So that means that I have a weather app on my phone, Weather Channel on my phone. That's where I'm constantly looking at the daily, where it's like a 2-week show. And then also, of course, I like to watch my local news station to see what they're saying, because that's kind of a more closer to home, right? And I'm looking for 2 things. What is their precipitation going to be? And then what are the low temperatures going to be? So precipitation. When do you take the covers off? You take the covers off when frozen precipitation is expected. That is ice or snow. These lightweight row covers are not made to carry snow load, y'all, right? So frozen stuff falling from the sky, you take your covers down. And again, there's nothing more insulating than a layer of ice or a layer of snow on your cool season hardy annuals. Now, we bring our row covers inside this time of the year because of the deep dive of temperatures. And why do we do? So that means Saturday when I go out to take my covers down, when snow is imminent and ice, we're going to go out and roll up our row covers and bring them back and just put them in a corner here in the building. That means they won't be frozen. That gives me options, y'all. That means that I can put them back out there whenever I need to. If you try to move or work with frozen row covers, you will totally decimate your row covers. Doesn't matter what weight you have. And they will be ripped up. Now, they come in 20 and 50-foot pieces and even longer. So if you haven't been indoctrinated into row covers yet, you definitely need to get some. It's too late to have them for this round that's getting ready to happen, but you're going to want to need it in the future. Now, when to leave row covers on versus when to take them off for precipitation. If there's any frozen, if it's like if you just have a little sleeting going on, you could probably leave your row cover up. But you have ice and snow forecasted like we are for Saturday afternoon, a mix, 3 to 5 inches of it with more coming on Sunday, you take your covers down, right? When any frozen accumulation is coming, you take your row covers down. So will the low go below our average? I'm just reading the questions here that have been some. Will the low go below our average winter low? If yes, I may lose plants. So this is a question that somebody asked. So if I take my covers off and it drops below my low, the average low for where I am am I going to lose plants? Of course that is possible. But you stand, in my experience, to lose more plants leaving row cover on and then having heavy dump of frozen precipitation that then collapsed, and that fabric on your plants, they can't breathe. It's just not a good scene. They get kind of mushy, which what happens when you lose plants to frost, right? Or to hard temperatures. So if you don't know you should only have planted things that will survive your winter lowest temperature. But we've kind of got a dicey situation coming here for me. So we have nighttime temperatures going down. We have, in the 10-day forecast, we have 18 degrees, 15 degrees, and a bunch of 20s. That's a little bit lower than we normally go. But I've only planted those cool flowers last fall that will survive my winter low temperatures. There's a few that I'm a little concerned about. Billy Balls, Ami, Cress, but we're going to soon find out. My goal is to get my covers off right before the snow starts, because once the snow starts, then they've got a blanket of snow on them and they're protected again, better than my row cover. So you just have to trust the process, y'all. You have to trust that the cool flowers, this is assuming that you planted on time, they're well established, which mine are. Some of mine are a little bit bigger than I'd like for them to be. They're the ones that I'm really concerned about. And we have no control over the weather. So you just have to do the best you can. I have a plan. Andrew is ready to come help me gather up row covers, even if it's raining. It doesn't matter to me if they're wet. They're coming inside a building that is above freezing, right? So that means that if I get snow on Saturday and Sunday, this is classic Virginia, I get snow. It's a nice cover, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. Supposed to get more than that. That is perfect. Your cool flowers would love that. But then classic Virginia, Monday afternoon, it goes up to 49 degrees and the sun is out, and instantly, because my beds have black bio on it, biodegradable film, the snow just melts off my beds. The pathways still have snow, and that's when I have to cover, because I have a 15-degree night coming. So that's why bringing my covers in allows me to grab covers and just take them back out and put them back on. If they were frozen, if they had been laying out in the pathways of my field, they would be frozen and you could not bring them back up, okay? So that is my plan. Down when the snow starts, ball them up, bring them in, throw them in a corner, which allows you to put them back out when you want to put them out. You don't have to wait until the temperatures are up in the 40s and everything is melted and you have gone through low temperatures with no protection because the snow melted. So that's what we have, my friends. So know that cool flowers will be not just surviving under snow. They will be partying under snow. It keeps them dormant. That's exactly their jam, y'all. So please don't be afraid. I understand. I've been through, I mentioned earlier, I don't know where I told the story today, but one of our dogs many years ago, Babs, our golden, who's in cool flowers, died suddenly in January many years ago in a big snowstorm. And it was an ice and snowstorm. I had 40, 120-foot beds of cool flowers. It was high production. And I was terrified to uncover them. I uncovered them at the last minute, the night of, out there in the dark, taking my covers down. I didn't put covers up back then. I know better now. Anyway, the next morning is when the catastrophe with Babs happened. And she had hemangiosarcoma, which is a very common golden retriever cancer. That's a tumor on her spleen that ruptured. And anyway, that just devastated us. And you know what that meant? I was not helicoptering on my cool flower beds that were out there in cold weather. They were covered in snow for a couple of days and ice. There was ice on my snapdragons. I have a picture of that somewhere. I was just too devastated. I didn't even go out there and look. It's like cool flowers, you're on your own. Guess what? I had the best cool flower harvest we had ever had that year. So do not be afraid, y'all. I had uncovered my beds. They were coated in ice and snow. They didn't just survive, they thrived through it. So don't let that just take a breath. And remember, even if they do die, we're going to be firing up. Right now, you can still start more for very early spring planting. Hop to it. If you're that afraid, start more, right? That's what I did, still do. And anyway, all right, friends. I'm going to look at these questions. I knew there'd be a boatload. Hey, everybody. Love seeing the sunflowers. Lisa, I started straw flower seeds on January 13th and planting them in very early spring planting window. When would I start my next round of straw flowers to succession plant? So in your cut flower handbook, you said 4 weeks, but I wasn't sure if it was 4 weeks after I started those seeds or 4 weeks after I planted. So that's a really great question. I start them 4 weeks after. When we plant straw flowers, I count 4 weeks from then. It just spreads them out because they're branchers, right? So 4 weeks from the time that you actually plant them. So that would be your very early spring planting window. Good question. Trying to determine what lightly covered looks like is stressful. Current soil block pincushion. All right, Tina. So I don't know if your pincushion flowers have the little badminton birdie cage on it. You know what I mean? It's that little funny looking thing and there's a seed in the middle. We just push. I'm going to go get them to show them to you, okay? I just took them in. I knew I should have kept them out here. I used them earlier. So this is pincushion blue cockadee, and I'm going to sacrifice a baby for you. You can see from this seedling that didn't develop very good. See the little, see if y'all can, if it'll focus. There's the little seed right there, right? That's that little birdie looking. And literally, we just push, just like a zinnia, we just push the pointy end down into the block and the top of that little birdie, the tail, was still visible. That's covering it. I don't know if there's another one. The rest of these got pushed. See, that one didn't get pushed down deep enough is why it was kind of funky. This one didn't either, but you can't see the seeds. See how that, I'm like sacrificing seedlings right here for y'all. So don't stress over that. Just pushing it deeper into the block. And when you have a zinnia, a marigold, Cosmo, they're all the same. You just push them in and you're going to see the tail sticking up, and that is perfectly fine. And I hate lightly covered too. I know exactly what you're talking about. Lisa, where can I watch how to plan your year video? I got some of them. Where can I watch how to plan your year video? I can get some of them, but a lot of them I can't get. Is there another link I can get to? Are you talking about the video for the calendar to plan the planting windows? Because you just hit you scan the QR code on the calendar and the video's right there on that page. If that's not it and you need more help, reach out to the office, info at the Gardener's Workshop, or call and they will direct you. Lisa, do you store your harvested cool flowers in a cooler, or is there another option? I'm just starting growing cool flowers and so not currently have a cooler. I grew cut flowers for probably 6, 7, 8 years before I got a cooler. It's all about what you grow and where you store them and how you harvest. But more importantly than all of that is having 2 sales outlets a week. One at the first of the week, one at the end of the week. So you don't have to sit on flowers. That's the key. That's the ticket. And so cool flowers, like it cool. Like for instance, you would never grow tulips, lilies, peonies without a cooler because they just literally will go fully open in one day. You know, you have to really chill them down. So it's what you grow and then how you store it. I don't know if you have an air-conditioned space as an option, but the big thing is to harvest them early and to have a place for them to go. Like we harvested on Monday, delivered on Tuesday. Harvested on Thursday, delivered on Friday, or went to customers on Friday. So you're not having to sit on flowers. That's the key. And so I did it for many, many years. Crystal, crop rotation in the field recommended for flowers. Are there flower families like vegetables that need to be rotated like nightshades, which include multi-vegetables like peppers? So it's always a good idea to rotate for lots of different reasons, right? And my way of succession planting, which that is in the Cut Flower Handbook, and it's on the last page of that calendar where I give you the 3-block system that I follow. And when you follow that 3-block system, you are naturally, as the seasons move, the plantings move throughout those blocks. And so you are naturally actually rotating your crops that way. And there are flowers that are very susceptible to like Phytophthora and things like those are diseases in soil that once you get them, you don't ever get rid of them. And they affect a lot of different flowers. Those are things, if you have issues, you should have your soil tested by your local extension agent to find out what the heck. Most of those types of situations come from poor drainage. But yes, definitely rotating your crops is always like sunflowers, and we plant tons of sunflowers. It was a challenge to not plant in the same place twice in a row because they have really big powdery mildew issues, and once you get it, you will never get rid of it. And so, yes, take care to do that. Oh, Anna, I love my ginormous calendar. I would love to have named it that. If it didn't have so many letters, ginormous, that's the new nickname for it, the ginormous. Thank you, Anna. Lisa, when will your first planting outside be? What date? So my planting window, because my last frost date is April 15th. I think it's February, the actual days, I have to look on my calendar, but I believe it's February 15th to March 4th. And so my bed's all ready and prepared. It's been ready since last fall, right? So literally, even if we had snow on that bed, we could go out on a sunny afternoon and very gently, we use a push broom and just push the snow off. I have planted stock through light snow, couple different years. The big calendar is worth every penny and more. I struggled with succession planning and now my whole year is planned. Oh, Thea, I am so pleased. Do y'all want to know the biggest favor that you can do for me? Is to write exactly what you have written on these comments and go over to the calendar product page here in the app and over on my website and post a review. Please, please, please. Please do that. All right. The Cut Flower Handbook is hands down one of the best resources I've ever used. Oh, thank you. Y'all are full of just wonderful good stuff tonight. Melissa, let me tell you. Here's another. Y'all are so wonderful. Let me tell you, if you are on the fence about the calendar, it is an invaluable tool. I couldn't sleep last night, and so at 2 a.m., I got everything written in my calendar. I feel so prepared, although I already had sowed some seeds that are too early. I am telling you, friends, when you figure out your planting windows, those that apply to you, on that list, you soon learn that you don't have to start stuff early because there's so much stuff you can do, right? And that's what, when I wrote Cool Flowers, it was really a new concept. It was a rekindled concept, but nobody believed me. I mean, I had to convince the publisher that it was real, right? And I feel that's what I'm up against with this calendar journal. People are like, I'm not saying you don't need a spreadsheet, but this is a tool that makes it so easy to figure out your succession planting, which I'm telling you, we get questions about that every single day of our life because we've made it so complicated, and teachers have made it so complicated, but it does not need to be that way. So thank you all. And Melissa, if you would post that over on the reviews, that would be awesome too. Melissa, so glad you said this. I've been on the fence. You talked to me. Oh, Beth, so glad. It is so surprising. I mean, people look at it and thinking, why do I just need a giant calendar for $40? It is so much more. I wonder now if I shouldn't call it the journal calendar or the guide journal calendar. Anyway, it's all about I'll figure it out. I'll figure out what is the good way for people to understand. It's communication, right? So thank you all so much. Tina, the calendar is the best. If you love it, remember to show Lisa some love and give it a good review. Oh, Tina, thank you. Yes. Y'all, I never knew how important reviews were, particularly books on Amazon. Even if you don't buy a book on Amazon, did you know that you can actually write a review? For every 20 reviews that gets written on a book, that makes Amazon bump you up the ladder so that they show your book to people shopping that subject. It is so important. Lisa, my first year of having raised beds with 400 cool flowers looking great, but now here in upstate South Carolina, Zone 8, the severe ice storm coming with sub-zero temperatures never happened here. Oh, don't despair. My question is, you say uncover them with snow or ice. How do you keep deer from eating the greens since it's uncovered for a few days at night? If they're frozen, if they are coated in ice or have snow, I wouldn't think that would be a problem. That's a good question, though. If I was super worried about that, if you have severe deer pressure, you could just quickly hook up a hose and do some deer spray. Or however, I guess you can do a backpack sprayer. Spray for deer while they're down. If you're that concerned, if that'll make you feel better. But I would say if they're going to be ice covered or snow covered, the deer probably are not going to be. They're going to be looking for people's shrubs to eat, something that's upright and not totally covered, right? That's a really great question. Wednesday, gotta do mosquito bits. I'm mixing it by the quart. How much do I add to a quart? 4 quarts to a gallon, so 1 tablespoon is 4 tablespoons to a gallon, right? Isn't there 4 quarts to a gallon? So 1 tablespoon to a quart. Lisa, do we pot up the eucalyptus? If so, when do you recommend it? Thank you for everything you do for us. Oh, you're so welcome. So my eucalyptus are about that big. They're pretty spindly. I'm struggling with this whole getting them warm. You know, they need more warmth than the cools do. But I usually do it at 3 to 4 weeks or something. We have a long way to go. They need like 12 to 16 weeks of growth. I need to plant 2 stock seeds per block, and do you weed out the single blooms? No, I do not. I've read to plant 2 seed stocks per block. You can do that. So if you want to do that, so this is stock, and you can see it gets kind of spindly. You could put 2 seeds in each one. We do that for some other applications of things, which I won't confuse you with that now. It's actually in the Cut Flower Handbook, the Cut Flower Kale. You can do that because that would actually, I should have thought of doing that actually. I kind of forgot about that. See, that's something you should go right on your calendar. And so next year, when you're doing your next year calendar, you look back and say, oh yeah, I'm supposed to put 2 seeds for stock. Honestly, it's like, so yes, you can do that because you plant them really close. And see, we could have done that because we're actually tightening up our spacing, and that would have actually worked. And no, I have never pricked out what supposedly is the singles. The singles just aren't real. They don't last very long. They're not great, but we just don't have a high rate of singles. So that's just a job that is very stressful, and why even waste your time? Beth Davies, you won't be disappointed. You can use it from now on. It's not a no-brainer. If you need more supplies, order it all together, and shipping is capped in the app. Oh, thank you. All right, let's see. How does this sale work? So, Kristen, up at the top, so now that I've already gone through all the products, down at the bottom of your app, see that little white button? It says shop. If you touch that, it brings up all the products that I've talked about. So if you saw it, you'll find it in there. But we have more products. I mean, there's a ton more stuff. There's more seeds, there's more supplies, there's all kinds of mess in this app, and you can shop them all. Karen, I found that Didyscus in particular doesn't like wet area in the garden. Struggled with this last year with some poor drainage in areas, and it really affected. You know that all the cool season hardy annuals really resist wet feet because cool season growing does not dry out. So good point, and I find that to be true for most of them. What size is this soil block? Yes, it's 3/4 inch. Do you transfer your new seedlings into the 2-inch block as though the smaller one is just a start? No, Lisa. I have done it very, very differently for the last 30 years. A lot of people that demonstrate and teach this, I realize teach a lot of people to start in the 2-inch block. I wasn't able to do that. I didn't have enough space to be able to use the 2-inch block, and learned and developed this method of we start almost all of our seeds in the small block. I only pot up, as you're asking, to the 2-inch block, to tomatoes, peppers, eucalyptus, and eggplant. The rest of them all grow in that little block till they go to the garden. The key is you just don't start them too early, and they do fabulous. Do any of the cool flowers need to be in the darkness first lights? Each seed packet tells you that instruction. Do you know when the spiral version of the Flower Handbook will be back in stock? The publisher is sold out of my book right now. We tried to get some. Actually, yesterday this all unfolded. We ordered more to be shipped to the company that puts the spiral on it, and to find out that they won't be back in stock until March 6th. We have books that aren't spiral bound available right now. But March 6th is when they'll be coming. And yes, we will be having them spiral bound again because y'all blew us away. We just couldn't believe how many we sold. And I love it. I love it spiral bound. Can you give us your grow room? Show us. just a quick field trip. Hank, the problem is that I have to be hardwired for this show, and it's just tough. We actually did do it, didn't we? It was a huge deal. You'll have to maybe look. I think back in the fall when I had Cool Flowers started in there, we might have started a show in there, but I'll keep that in mind. That would be a Friday show. I can't do that on a Wednesday when I'm by myself. It takes a lot of hands to do that. Lisa, I seen the other day you had insulated doors to your seed room. Is there a reason why? So that's actually my germination chamber that you saw, the green fiber insulation board. But my grow room is just a regular room. It is insulated like your house is, but that was the germination chamber. How do you keep the gnats down? By practicing fungus gnat control from the first week you start seeds until the last week. We practice it from January to November. As long as there's seedlings in that room, I use BT, the bits, every Wednesday, and the yellow sticky traps, which you can also find here in the app, or what capture the adults. Hey, Amy, can you please tell me again when to start using fertilizer for seedlings? As soon as they're off the heat and under grow lights. Can you recommend best homemade soil block medium to use? The recipe is on our website under resources. There's a whole soil blocking area. It comes with the soil blocker, the recipe does, but it's always on our website. I just started reading your cut flower book. Has me excited. Oh, I'm so glad. When should stock be sown in Zone 8, North Florida? It's not about your zone. It's about your last spring frost date. And so you plant 6 to 8 weeks. It's probably too late for you, I'm thinking. 6 to 8 weeks before your last spring frost is when you plant the transplants outside, and you need to start them 4 to 6 weeks before that. Lisa, is Didiscus in the cut flower handbook? No, but it's in the bonus, right? I think. Yes. It's one of the bonus flowers in the PDF download. It wouldn't fit, y'all. They already gave me extra pages. Stephanie, oh, you're welcome. Since I'm a total newbie here, I struggle knowing how much shelving, grow lights, heat mats I need for starting. Just warm tender annuals for now, the basics, 7 to 5. First off, nobody has ever had enough grow lights and heat mats. I still don't. 30 years in. The system is also succession planting helps you to make the best use of your setup. So we have a new grow light that'll be coming on board. I think it'll come out later this week. It won't be here in the app. It'll only be on our website. And it will support 4 of these 100 count trays. So that means it's a tabletop. I'm looking at it over there. I don't have the specs. It's like 20 inches deep by 24 inches long, and it'll support 400 seedlings. That's a great start for somebody, because here's the deal. You don't start so far ahead that, if you're talking warm season, I wouldn't start zinnias until 2 weeks before it was time to plant. Some of the others that have a longer, Gumphrina, Celosia, and marigolds, you start them earlier, you start them first. And then hopefully by the time that it's time to start the other things that you need room under a grow light for, you can start hardening these guys off outside. You know what I mean? You learn to become a freight train. That's what I call it. Negative 22. Boo hiss. All right, I lost my... Oh, wait a minute. I'm trying to find where I was. Can't believe how many comments are in here, y'all. All right, there I was. Lisa. How long do you wait after snow stops to put covers back on? Well, you can put the covers back on at any time. It's not so much when the snow stops. The snow is protecting your plants. You do not, if there is still snow out there, you don't have to put the covers back. It's when the snow melts and you have really cold temperatures. That's when you put them back on. Any recommendations to keep the hitchhikers on the harvested flowers? To keep, I would guess you're saying to get them off. Yeah, I mean, if you need to handle pest issues out in the garden, but after we harvest, we turn the flowers and kind of just gently bump them on my legs as I'm walking to the harvest trailer. But you really need to attend to that before you are cutting. I'll be sure and tell her, Tina. Lynn in customer service is awesome. She'll be the one to answer the phone. Yes, Tina, I totally agree. So the recipe's on the website. I can't wait for sunflowers either, y'all. The calendar is suitable for anywhere because you use your frost dates and low temperature. However, we only ship to the 50 United States. I'm sorry. If we ever get it on Amazon, then maybe you would have access to it. The shipping discount is that seed packet only orders ship for free. Product shipping is capped at $11.95, and those are discounted prices. Thank you, Melissa. Norma, you sound like me. That's me. I'm always gotta be prepared. Calendar is amazing. Good thing to work on this weekend during our storm. You know, my sister always says that whenever a storm like this comes, it's my fault because that usually either means I'm writing a book or I need a job to do. And filling out my calendar is my job for this one. The best $40 you'll ever spend. Thank you. And I'm telling y'all, posting these comments over in the reviews on the product page will help us so much. You just don't know. You just don't know. It's just fabulous. Thank you so much. Oh, I mean, the best $40 you ever will spend. That is an awesome review, right? Lisa, will you remind me how close you are planning to plant stock seedlings? Okay, 8 rows across a 30-inch bed. Normally, we would go 6 inches in the row between plants, but we're doing 3 inches this year. But I'm thinking the second seed in the soil block would have solved that problem. Planted my Lisianthus today in soil blocks. Your calendar really helping me plan my succession. Oh, I'm so glad, Kathy. Fabulous big calendar. Y'all, if I could just get all of y'all that are talking so wonderful about this calendar to post a review, that would be, I cannot even tell you how much that would help us. We would use it in marketing. It would be shown to more people because it's getting reviews on it. It would just be awesome. Lisa, my plants have gotten huge. With that said, I'm not sure they will make it through the ice and deep dive we have come in Northeast Texas. I know normally to drop covers, but with such low temperatures and large plants, I feel like I'll lose them if I try to protect them. Any advice? I have the same problem. And I'm telling you, particularly because they're big, if those tunnels collapse, they're really going to kill them. So here's what you do. You wait until you know real snow and ice is coming. Uncover your stuff. Let it happen. And while it's happening, you're inside starting more seeds for very early spring planting. I'm not kidding. And then they're all going to live and you're going to have so many flowers. Best trays and soil blocking recipes. It's all on our website. Sold out. What amazing words to hear. Melissa, nobody, and the company that actually bound them for us couldn't believe it either that we sold out. What size do you grow sweet peas in? The 2-inch? Do they need to get potted up? Nope. When you And I only start them 2 to 3 weeks before they're going to be planted. Oh, and I just lost my place. All right, y'all, we're going long. I have to go in and fry eggs for dinner. I don't have to, but I am going to. There's so many comments that my computer is freaking out. Let's see if I can get them back over here. All right, there they are. All right. Yeah, there's no digital version available yet. Yeah, snow is the best part because it really protects your plants. The PDF bonus that came with the Cut Flower Handbook that when you purchased it from us is available for purchase. And I think it's here in the app also. It's called, what is it called? Flowers That Didn't Make the Book. And you can purchase the PDF. We plant poppies directly in the garden. Y'all really read the instructions on your seed packets from us. We tell you the best way. All right, y'all. I think that's all I can get to here. So thank y'all for all your kind words about the calendar. And I mean, literally, if you just write the words that you wrote here on the calendar, on the website, or here in the app, or in both places, that would just help us so much, and I appreciate it. So, my friends, batten the hatches. Friday, we're going to, on the 12 o'clock show, we'll be doing talking more about the storm coming, and I'll have my plan, and maybe it'll be closer, and I'll know more about what I'm doing, and we can talk about it. And I, too, will do another Q&A. So, my friends, have a great night, and until we meet again.